Hi, Holmes Road. Good to see you today. I hope everything is going well for you. Hope you're finding yourself happy and healthy. It's good to be back in Lansing again. We had a good vacation, but it's also good to be back home. I'm hoping everyone is doing well. Hope to see you soon. But I wanted to bring you a little Wednesday devotional thought and just maybe give you some encouragement. Nicknames. Do you have any? Do you have nicknames that people have called you throughout your life? I know many people have in my life have had nicknames. I remember as a kid, we had people named Stinky and Punk. The funny part about the guy named Punk, he was one of those opposites. He was the nicest guy you could possibly imagine, but everyone called him Punk. In fact, he wanted to be called Punk. And but Shorty and Stretch, you've had all these nicknames, and even I've had nicknames over the years. My sister used to call me Stanley Steamer. Other people called me the Preacher Man. A lot of people call me Stan the Man, but we all seem to get nicknames along the way. My boys had nicknames, whether at school. Janda used to be called Janda Panda, Panda Bear. People just give us these nicknames. There's a lot of famous nicknames. Black Mamba. We know who the Black Mamba is, Kobe Bryant. Magic, hardly anyone knows Irvin Johnson, but you say Magic Johnson, everyone knows. Same thing, Eldrick Woods. Most people don't even know who Eldrick Woods is, but you say Tiger Woods, people know that. How about the Mailman? You guys remember the Mailman from Utah, Karl Malone? These are all famous nicknames, but nicknames are something we seem to do as people. We name people. I have a name. You have a name. We all have been given names. But somewhere along the way, names kind of get assigned based on our appearance, jobs, personality, character, or actions. Even Jesus did the same thing. Jesus, he too gave nicknames to people. Remember in Mark 3:17 when he dubbed James and John with the nickname the Sons of Thunder. Nicknames usually come about organically by what others see in us. Rarely do we get a chance to nickname ourselves. I mean, if we could nickname ourselves, I try to get people to call me Stan the Stud for years, but they would never call me that. For some reason, no one ever called me Stan the Stud. I tried to get them to, they wouldn't. But, my son Mark, he always wanted to be called Mark the Shark. He wanted everyone to call him Shark. But he wasn't very shark-like. No one wanted to call him that. But he always tried to get people to call him by that nickname. Never seemed to fit. We try to give ourselves nicknames that we want people to see us as, but it don't work. And nicknames usually come by other people nicknaming us. But there was one lady in the Bible who tried to do just that. She tried to change her name to a nickname, and it didn't seem to work out too well. But if you have your Bibles, turn to Ruth. Book of Ruth, chapter 1, verse 20. In this verse, we see Naomi talking, and she says, "Don't call me Naomi." She says, "Call me Mara, because the Almighty has made my life very bitter." Naomi didn't want to be called Naomi anymore. She wanted to give herself the nickname Mara, which means bitterness. And can you imagine wanting to name yourself Bitterness? But she wanted to change her name from Naomi to Bitterness because both her husband and her 2 sons had died. She felt that God had made her life bitter. But luckily, the nickname just never stuck. I mean, we don't know her as Mara today. We all call her Naomi whenever we think of that character in the Bible. The nickname didn't stick. And the reason that nickname Mara didn't stick was because that was not the end of her story. In reading the rest of the book and rest of the verses there, we see where God blesses Naomi immensely throughout her life. She blessed her with a loving, committed daughter-in-law, Ruth, who eventually remarried and had a son. And so therefore, with Ruth and her new husband and her new son, this created a whole new family for Naomi to rejoice in and to find happiness once again in. And so, maybe some of you out there have gone through some bad times. Maybe some of you are going through some pretty tough times right now. And in reading, in reading this story of Naomi and Ruth, and maybe you're like Naomi and you're tempted to give yourself some bitter nicknames because of the things you're going through. Maybe you call yourself failure, or old fatty, or loser, or Mr. Unloved, or Mrs. Lonely. We want to call ourselves certain things that the way we feel. And we, like Naomi, will tend to give ourselves nicknames based on the difficulties that we're experiencing or mistakes that we've made in life. But those names that we tend to give ourselves, they're not the end of our story. Just like Naomi. The reason Mara never stuck, there was more to her life to come. But good news. Here's some good news. Whatever nicknames you've been given by other people or nicknames you tried to give yourself, those are not the nicknames God has given you. That's right. God has given you nicknames. God did give you nicknames, and you can find it in the New Testament. If you have your Bibles, turn to Romans chapter 9 and verse 25. Romans 9, verse 25. In that verse it says, this is God talking, he says, I will call them my people. And there's quotes there. I will call them, quote, my people. That's a name. God says, I'm going to name you my people who are not my people, and I will call her, and again, quote, my loved one who is not my loved one. So God is saying, I have given you some nicknames. I've given you the nicknames my people and my loved one. Isn't it great to know that no matter what silly nickname people stick on us or what names we try to give ourselves, God says, I'm going to give you a nickname, and those nicknames are my people and my loved one. I like the comfort of those nicknames. That's better than Stan the Man or whatever people like to call me, old preacher man or the Church of Christ kid or whatever people like to call me. I like my people and my loved one from God. I like that nickname. I love the comfort that those nicknames bring. And I hope today that you have found that same comfort and encouragement in those nicknames that God has given you. All you have to do is turn to Jesus Christ. Turn to Him. Put Jesus Christ on in your life, and you can be God's loved one and God's people. If you haven't turned to Christ, let me know, and we will do what it takes to turn your life around. We'll do what it takes. We'll have Bible studies, we'll have baptism, whatever you need. Just let us know, because your nickname can be something very encouraging and positive. And that's the message for this morning. And for this evening, for Wednesday night, I hope it has encouraged you. We'll see you soon, Holmes Road. Bye-bye.